I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring the profound depths of an important book. It is called The Meaning of Life. It's written by Robert Scollo. This thrilling novel examines the power of influence through the eyes of James, a young man grappling with personal tragedy and the weight of a world on the brink. Right now, we're going to uncover how one's personal choices can echo across the globe and shape the fate of humanity. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Robert, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Hello, Logan, or as we say here in Australia, good day.
Good day, mate. That's my best impression. That's where it begins and
You've done
ends.
well.
Okay, let me just ask you this. What inspired you to create a character like James, who, despite personal tragedy, receives the power to influence world leaders?
Well, James is probably what I felt probably 5 years ago. I was suffering severe depression, and I got to the stage there where I thought, why am I here? You know, if I wasn't here, then I wouldn't have this pain anymore. And it was funny that morning where I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. That's how I felt. That's what I wrote about James. And luckily, I found a counsellor who supported me over those 6 months. I saw her every week, twice a week, and it came out of necessity. So I had to do something to keep active and not to crash around myself. And I wrote this novel. Look, I'm not an author. I've never written anything in my life. In my previous life, the only thing I did was write reports. So I'm pretty good at putting things in sequence. I don't think I jumped around too much in the novel because that's my way of thinking. And that's how James came about. I had to develop his character to a stage where how I felt was what I wrote, and to get to the point where he wanted to change the world. And this is what we need to do. Yeah. Even though it's a fiction novel, a lot of the things, apart from what he received, we should be doing because we're destroying ourselves. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Between the bombs
that's how
and
the
the
novel came
environmental
about.
destruction, absolutely, absolutely. James forces leaders to address the world crises. What message do you hope that readers get about leadership and responsibility in today's world?
At the moment, we have a lot of protests. We've got a lot of activists. I mean, they're a single voice out there, and all they're doing is getting people like me annoyed because they're disrupting our lives and they're not making any positive difference. The only way we can have proper change is by us as one voice going to our governments and say, we want you to get together with all the leaders of the world that want to do this and make a positive change, come with a solution. Because at the moment, we have wars, we have famine, we're destroying our forests and so on. And I can't see it improving. Yeah. So we need our leaders to do something. They're the ones with the money. They're the ones with the intelligence. They're the ones with the people that can make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to bring forward.
It's not even addressed. All we hear is hundreds of billions of dollars are sent to this warring country and that warring country. Oh. When, the oceans are, filthy, our drinking water in many cases isn't safe. There's a lot of good that can be done with all the money that there is in this world that seems to be spent on killing people. You've got a great scenario in the book involving terrorists and stolen nuclear warheads. It's incredibly suspenseful. Tell us a little bit about how this relates to your deeper philosophical questions that you pose in the book.
Look, stealing weapons and so on, I think I just made the story interesting. I mean, the point of the matter was getting the leaders together, and I had to make the story interesting. So I made it interesting all the way through, hopefully. I mean, the first part is like a tragic love story, and where James developed. He met this entity who gave him this power to try and make a change to the world. I mean, apart from that, what he did is what we should be doing with our own governments. And that's what I'm trying to put forward. The rest is just fiction. But I tried to make it interesting. But the point that hopefully the readers get to the point where they understand that the change can only happen by our governments, not by us. But we should be influencing the governments to make this change, to get together and decide on what we can do positively with our planet, because it's the only one we have. I mean, you've got people like Elon Musk, right? I think just recently he came up with a proposal that he wants to populate Mars. That's not going to happen. It's impossible. So we should be spending that money positively here on this planet rather than this whimsical plan that's probably not going to happen in generations.
Yeah. There's people here who need housing. There's
Correct.
people here living in the street. There's people here who are hungry. I mean, it's just not addressed. I mean, even in our political campaign here in the United States right now, you just hear this attack against this opponent, that attack against that opponent, and no real solutions are proposed
No.
other than
And your
keeping
government,
migrants out or letting migrants in. You know, let's
agree.
come up with a solution that maybe there's prosperity in those countries so they don't need to migrate across the border into the United States.
Correct.
You know, there's a lot to be done, and I think your book is a great starting point to get people to think about that. Tell us a little bit about the symbolism behind the gift given to James and how it reflects on the choices we all have in life.
Well, the gift was a way of trying to get our governments to think in a positive way, rather than thinking for themselves or their own people in their own countries. So that was the influence of James, rather than, you know, the thing is, America at the moment, you're spending billions of dollars, you're throwing money to other countries where it should be done differently. I mean, you're giving money to Ukraine, you're giving money to Israel. I know what it needs to be done. It should have done it. It should have been done a different way, I think. So that was the reasoning. So the government should be spending the money as a unit and deciding on what to do with our planet and improving it, rather than just giving it to blow people up. It's wrong.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%. Like I said, people need to get educated in this country. It shouldn't be costing them $100,000 a year with room and board in college. I mean, there's a lot of craziness that's going on, and we're taking hundreds of billions of dollars and just throwing it
Wasting
overseas
it.
where people are killing each other. I mean, there's
Correct.
got to be a peaceful resolution to that as well, right?
The decision made by Israel, even though it was theoretically justified, they should have gone in a completely different way. They would have gotten a lot more countries on board by basically saying, okay, we've got people throwing bombs at us from Gaza by Hamas. What we should be doing, giving the people inside the Gaza, saying, right, we will take you out of there, we will feed you, we will house you, we will look after you, come out. All the countries around there would have taken them in, then the place would be empty other than from Hamas, and they could have all gone in, cleaned it all out, and all the Palestinians could have gone back. I don't know why they didn't do that. It would have cost a lot less, and a lot more countries would have been positive, would have been supportive. Now you've got a lot of protests regarding, you know, the Palestinians being slaughtered. It's ridiculous.
Well, the other side of war is a lot of people get very rich during war. These hundreds of billions of dollars aren't going nowhere. They're going into somebody's pockets. Somebody owns those factories that builds the bombs. Somebody owns the factories that builds the planes
Correct.
and so forth and so on. Let me just ask you this before we leave you today. Your book's a great, you know, thriller of a book, of course, grounded in philosophy. Do you think it would make a good movie?
I think it would. Um, it basically covers a lot of different genres, I suppose. You know, love story. I know it's a tragedy, and then you've got the suspense all the way through from then on when James gets the power to try and influence the governments for change.
Yeah. No, I think it would
So
be a
yes,
great movie. And I think more than just a thriller, it would have some substance. And that's what would make it excellent as well. The name of the book we're talking about today is The Meaning of Life. It is written by Robert Scollo. It is a thrilling novel that examines the power of influence through the eyes of James. He is a young man grappling with personal tragedy and the weight of the world on the brink. It shows you how people's choices make a difference and how they can echo and shape the face of humanity. Robert, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
my pleasure, Logan.
Pleasure's all mine. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.